Joining us now, Congressman Jeff Van Drew from House Homeland Security, along with the Hill media columnist Joe Concha. Gentlemen, it's so good to have you back on. We've got news coming into the studio for both of you and the viewer. Two polls now move within the race, have them within the race, the margin of error for Dr. Oz against Fetterman and Lee Zeldin against Kathy Hochul. And now 538 has the Senate as a toss-up in the midterms. What do you say to all this?
Lee Zeldin is going to win. Dr. Oz is going to win. The numbers are going to get greater. A lot of people don't answer polls, especially on the Republican side. As we know, that's statistically true. It's just going to get bigger and better. The truth is coming out everywhere all at once. And, you know, real quickly, I can't believe that they had Fetterman actually do the debate. They should have done with Fetterman as much as they possibly could, pretty much what they did with Joe Biden, put him in a cellar somewhere, get him comfortable, and just get him out of the public's way. He's stronger when you don't see him, you don't hear him, and you don't know anything about him.
Now it's now the voter can see what's going on. Right? I mean, to what the congressman is saying, Joe, it was Fetterman's only debate with Dr. Oz. He was given closed caption scrolling on monitors. His campaign tried to complain about that, but that's been already debunked. This is after his condition, after the stroke he suffered through. Joe, I want your reaction to this. Watch this.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
Let's take crime as an example because it's been such a big problem. John Fetterman, during this crime wave, has been trying to get as many murderers convicted and sentenced to life in prison out of jail as possible.
I do not believe in supporting the Supreme Court.
He said you have not paid your taxes and that you want to raise taxes on Americans. How do you respond?
Absolutely. The Oz rule, of course, he's lying. It was helping two students 17 years ago to help them buy their own homes. Here's what I think we have to fight about inflation here right now.
For anyone who's coming into this totally undecided, if you drop a voter into Harrisburg who had no engagement with this beforehand, it's hard to see them coming away terribly, terribly convinced by Fetterman.
That was a former Biden official. Joe, your reaction?
If this were a Republican, if John Fetterman were a Republican, there would be howls from traditional media saying that he needs to drop out of the race, or at least he should have been replaced the minute the news came out that he had a massive stroke, which clearly even 6 months later he has not fully recovered from, and not even close. But let's put aside Fetterman's health for a second, Emac. On policy, was there one lucid response from the Democrat on tackling inflation, energy independence, gas prices, illegal immigration, crime, or education? Even if you give him the benefit of the doubt as far as there's going to be words that are muddled or he doesn't quite have the correct articulation of his thought process, I still heard nothing that solves the myriad of problems hitting Pennsylvania right now, especially in crime and Philadelphia, because in 2021, Philadelphia set an all-time record as far as murders. They've already eclipsed that this year, and we still have 2 months to go, and this is a man who wants to let out 1/3 of the prison population. So forget about the health stuff for a second. On policy, I can't see how a purple state elects John Fetterman.
To what Joe is saying, the FBI overall says violent crime nationwide is up nearly 6% since before the pandemic. Wawa has been forced to close 9 of its stores at night in the Philadelphia area. Let's listen to what John Fetterman has said about releasing from prison felons, including murderers. Watch this.
I was on a panel with Secretary Wetzel earlier before the pandemic hit, and he said something remarkable that I agree with. He said, we could reduce our prison population by 1/3 and not make anyone less safe. I hope that it could lead to a conversation that would free close to 1,200 people.
What happens if one of them gets out and does something horribly wrong?
There's always that possibility.
Hey, John, so do you agree with Democrat Larry Krasner that the progressive crime policies are working?
Larry Krasner and his program that he thinks is working, it's not working, and we don't want it anymore.
Congressman, convicted murderer Jameer Harris, freed by Philly DA Larry Krasner, who's funded by George Soros' nonprofits, after 8 years in prison, back in custody. He allegedly murdered again in a deadly shooting. We have the news coming in. The Christmas parade attacker, 40-year-old Darrell Brooks, found guilty today in all 76 counts, including intentional homicide. He drove his SUV into a crowd of Christmas parade watchers in Waukesha. What was your reaction when you heard Fetterman on releasing murderers from prison and felons?
Well, you know, when he said it was remarkable, yeah, it's remarkably stupid and remarkably dangerous and remarkably awful for the American public. I mean, we've got to go back to stop and frisk. We've got to go back to make sure that people that have priors are kept in jail 3 times and you're out. We are a nation of the rule of law. What we are doing to our people in our country is so cruel and so wrong. It has to stop. And certainly shows, you know, forget about his stroke. You just shouldn't vote for this guy because he's got bad policies.
We got to move on. Lee Zeldin, Kathy Hochul. You're going to watch what happened. You're going to watch Democrat Representative Sean Maloney. He's dismissing voters who are upset about crime. Maloney's the chair of the Democrat House campaign arm. Watch this.
This governor, who still, to this moment, we're halfway through the debate, she still hasn't talked about locking up anyone committing any crimes.
Okay.
Anyone who commits a crime under our laws, especially with the change they made to bail, has consequences. I don't know why that's so important to you. All I know is that we could do more.
Well, when I said that we should remove
excuse me, I'm speaking.
Unfortunately, Kathy Hochul believes that the only crimes that are being committed are these crimes with guns. And you have people who are afraid of being pushed in front of oncoming subway cars. They're being stabbed, beaten to death on the street with hammers. Go talk to the Asian American community and how it's impacted them with the loss of lives. Jewish people targeted with raw, violent anti-Semitism on our streets.
Could we really see Democrats in trouble in New York, of all places?
The other side is acting like angry people, and they're lashing out.
Angry people because crime is up double digits, Joe. The Cook Report just moved Maloney's race to a toss-up. And what is Kathy Hochul claiming that no cash bail is a reform, right? Where they're letting out, you know, alleged murderers and people committing alleged homicide.
Yeah, Emac, remember when Terry McAuliffe, during that debate with Glenn Youngkin last year, Virginia's governor's race, said that parents don't have a say in their kids' education? And that was the line that killed his campaign. And what Kathy Hochul said last night, asking why is it so critical to have criminals behind bars, may well be something she does not recover from. The bottom line is that murders are up at a 25-year high in New York City. Homicides up. People are afraid, and they're paying more money to live in New York, or they're leaving in a mass exodus, as Lee Zeldin pointed out last night.
Joe,
a deep blue state like New York, it's a big, big problem for even Democrats right now.
Guys, I mean, where's the hair on fire moment for Democrats? People are being murdered. What is more of a civil rights violation, Congressman, than letting an accused and convicted murderer out of prison early on parole who goes on to kill again? Democrats are big about civil rights and social justice. Where is the social justice and civil rights of that?
There is no justice there. It's awful, obviously. I honestly don't know where they find these people to run these Democrats. They are just so far away from the norm. I don't know if they have any compassion or feeling or what they want to happen to this country, but they're destroying it.
Well, that's it. It's abnormal. Final word, Joe. We cannot normalize abnormal.
We cannot value the lives of criminals and their rights over the rights of citizens who obey the law. This is all about power, Emac, and holding on to it and nothing more.
That's right. Congressman Van Drew and Joe Concha, a pleasure having you on tonight.